Welcome back to WatchAdvisor on YouTube, where the watches are the stars. It's Alexander speaking to you, and on your screen you do see the new Longines Spirit Flyback Chronographs.
Don't forget to subscribe and to hit the bell to get our latest notifications.
Longines, in fact, is the inventor of the flyback chronograph, and in this video you will also learn about the history. It was in 1925 when Longines started to think about such chronographs. 1925, and they were the first one. So now they come back after years, they come back with a new version of a flyback chronograph. It has been realized in the cases in the line of the Spirit collection. I have been publishing already several videos showing you these Spirit watches. Excellent quality, excellent haptics, excellent price quality relationship, and so on. A lot of superlatives I could put in that Spirit collection. Now, to show you and that you better understand what I'm talking about, what is a flyback function? You know, a chronograph, a regular chronograph, has a start, stop, push piece and a reset, push piece on its flank. This is the crown. You wind the watch, start, stop, reset. Here in the middle you see the central second hand swiping over the dial in the speed of 1/8 of a second. It's a 4 Hz chronograph. Follow this hand on your screen right now, please. This is the central second hand, and I have been starting the chronograph, and what normally would happen is I would have to press stop, then the central second hand would stop, as you see, and then I could reset. I will not do this now. Why? Because I will continue my measurement I started. And what is flyback? Flyback means that by pushing whilst the chronograph is running, you clearly see that the central second hand swipes over the dial. I can reset and restart a new measurement. Look, I pressed the button, the reset button at 4 o'clock, and what happened? You saw that in the moment I press, the central second hand jumps back to 0, the 30-minute counter resets to 0, and the new measurement starts. There is no delay, there is no need to do what I just wanted to show you first. Stop, and then reset, and then start again. No, you just press, and it starts from 0 without a delay of a second or nothing. It's obviously nothing, you see? And it starts again. Yes, Longines is the inventor of the flyback chronograph. It was in 1925 when there was the first mention of a wristwatch chronograph with 2 independent pushers and flyback function found in the archives of Longines. Who asked for such a flyback chronograph? Pilots did, of course. And why did they do? They had chronographs on board, but they were too complicated to handle. Start, stop, reset. It had to be easier, quicker, because when they were starting to fly, they weren't able to yet rely on navigation charts, etc. There was no GPS, so lots of flying in low altitude was made by visual points. So they started their aircraft and they were flying 20 minutes straight ahead to, let's say, a church or a farmhouse, and then at the farmhouse exactly they were turning left in an angle of 90 degrees or something, and then continuing the flight, etc. And to be precise, that they could measure these legs precisely over a certain visible point, they needed that flyback function, because when they arrived at the point, they pressed the button, the measurement started at 0, and they didn't lose any time by stopping the watch, resetting the watch, and then starting it again. And they were already flying at some maybe 100 kilometers or more an hour, and if you lose precious seconds, you are not going to be there in the same time as you would have had with a flyback function. So pilots were the first ones. So it was then in 1928 the first 2 pushers flyback chronograph was presented by Longines with the Calibre 1333Z. Then 1929 another 2 pusher flyback chronograph, still with the Calibre 13.33Z with a modified flyback function. And it was in 1935 that Longines finally filed the patent for the flyback mechanism, and it was in 1936 that the first serial chronograph with a flyback function with the legendary Calibre 13ZN, one of the most technology advanced chronograph calibers at the time, and today a very much sought after collector's item. 1937, the first truly waterproof chronograph with its typical mushrooms shaped pushers flyback mechanism, and a patent for this watch was also filed in 1938. 1937, Longines 13ZN flyback for the Italian Royal Navy with large luminous numerals and blued steel hands with luminous mass. Delivered to the Istituto Idrografico Regia Marina, Italian Royal Navy, 1946. An oversized flyback pilot's wristwatch, stop seconds mechanism, Calibre 12.68Z, central 60 minutes recorder, delivered to KLM, the Dutch Royal Airline, the Dutch airline, Israeli and Japanese army pilots. In 1948, flyback chronograph 30CH, the Calibre 30CH, combined with flyback mechanism, fitted in a semi-instantaneous 30-minute counter at 3 o'clock and indicates the 1/5 of a second. 1968, super waterproof resistant diver flyback wrist chronograph patented by Longines, equipped with a seconds of the vernier type. It enables to read the 1/10 of a second. So lots of interesting developments. And then we all know the sad story. It got a bit calm around Longines, unfortunately. Only now, after 1968, in 2023, Longines presents its new Spirit Flyback Chronograph, a cool watch that you are able to discover in this video. Just in case that you were getting annoyed that I'm always showing you watches with blue dials, of course, I also have the second version of that chronograph, the Spirit Flyback with the black dial, and I even have it, as you can see, with a strap, so I can show you the version with strap and bracelet. They are interchangeable, no tools needed. But before I do all this, watch again, we do have the same here. Here is the central second hand swiping over the dial with a speed of 1/8 of a second. Here it is. And you see here the minute counter, 30-minute counter is actually showing almost 14 minutes. And what I will do, I will reset to 0, watch closely. I press on the push piece at 4 o'clock and look. Yes, instantaneously, in the moment when I release the push piece, the new measurement starting from 00 has begun. So this is the new Spirit Flyback Chronograph, and I will now quickly run you through its technical details. The case diameter is 42 millimeter. The thickness, yeah, it's, I hear you, and you can clearly see it, yeah. 17 millimeters is the thickness of this watch, this chronograph. It's an exclusive movement that belongs to Longines. And the so-called log-to-log distance, interesting measurement for you always. So that's the distance from one log end to the other log end, or the length of the entire watch, if you want to put it that way. It is 49.2 millimeter, 49.2. The case is waterproof up to 100 meters. And also might be interesting for you to know, let me take the blue one. So maybe there are some fans of blue watches also among you watching this video, and you know me, I like blue, and here's my favorite. Watch again on your screen. Forgive me, please. What I always now will try to give you is the aperture, the real aperture of the dial. So from here until here, it's not including the in both directional turning bezel with that ceramic inlay, etc., etc. It is the aperture, so the view on the dial. In German we say Zifferblattschau, that's the German word for it, And what you guess what this aperture is? Yes, it's 33.3 millimeter. So what you see in theory, or what you have to look on when you either want to read the time or you want to read the measurement you have been doing with your chronograph, is 33.3 millimeters, not more. Yep, interesting. And everything else around is, let me call it meat or design or whatsoever. It's there, makes the watch with 42 millimeters look bigger, of course, but the real look on the dial is 33.3 millimeter. With the quick release system of the bracelet and strap, I was able to easily dismantle it. So we have a clear view on the case back. It's a see-through case back, as you see here. And what ticks under the sapphire crystal here is the Longines Calibre L791.4 flyback. This is another exclusive Calibre to Longines. They paid ETA for the development. They have, with paying for the development at ETA, reserved this movement exclusively for the brand Longines, and it is based on the L688.4 or ETA A08.L01. I know lots of figures, but I just name some facts. Some of you connoisseurs, some of you who know, of course, watchmaking, know that the base, the original base, was the L688, and this L688 was based on the Valjoux 7750. But this is based on the Valjoux 7750, but has been, of course, further developed, improved. Features a column wheel. The power reserve has been increased to 68 hours. Features a silicone hairspring and components made out of Liga. That's a manufacturing process using nickel phosphorus, which has the advantage of being non-magnetic. Nivarox uses this manufacturing process to produce the escapement wheel plate and the anchor body. Thanks to these components, coupled with the silicone balance spring, the magnetic resistance of this movement is 10 times higher than the ISO 764 standard that is normally applied for Swiss mechanical wristwatches. Of course, this is not yet there where Omega is, but they are slightly improving, getting better and better, and also Longines now pushes the limits in terms of magnetic resistance, etc., etc. Let's be frank, if you have a silicone hairspring and if you have Liga being used for components concerning the escapements, you are on the safe side already, because these are the most fragile parts of a watch when a watch gets into a magnetic field, and if it is not completely anti-magnetic as a silicone hairspring is, the spiral begins to clue and bigger deviations, plus minus, start to appear, or the watch might even stop. I said it before, the command of the chronograph function is done by a column wheel. Here you see it. My finger here is on the start, stop, push piece, and once I stop the watch and when I start the watch, you will, a little bit difficult to see probably because it has been really hidden here in that corner, you do see the little nose either fall in between two columns, and when the nose falls in between the two columns, the chronograph central wheel connects to the gear train of the watch and the chronograph starts to run. So once it is, let's look, stopped, so the little nose now will sit on one of the columns, and once I press the button, the column wheel turns one step and the little nose falls in between the columns, and this is when the chronograph central wheel we can't see due to the automatic rotor and the automatic rotor bridge. It will be behind these two elements. We can't see that, but then the chronograph central wheel connects to the gear train of the watch, and then the chronograph starts. The only little flaw I found on this excellently manufactured Longines watch, there's nothing wrong on this watch, but the only little flaw is, yeah, you know the Valjoux 7750 and you know that famous winding rotor. The winding rotor only winds in this direction, so it's unidirectional. It's not a winding rotor that would wind in both directions. And what happens, and owners of a 7750 know that, once you accelerate, I do this, look. When it is in the wrong sense, this is what the automatic rotor does. It turns because there's no way that this energy that has been applied on the rotor coming from me by shaking the case could be transformed into energy that would wind the barrel, because it is only in this direction it does. So if it's in the wrong direction, the rotor just spins. And this is something that is known to irritate people on the wrist, because you of course feel it. I could also lay it here. And I think without that I have to amplify the sound, I keep the microphone clipped on me. We heard that, and this is the only thing you do feel when you wear the watch. And this could be, it must not, but it could be disturbing. So I would recommend you, when you try the watch, put it on your wrist, shake it on your wrist, and then feel this. Is the bracelet tapering? I think one can see it already. Yes, it is. In between the lugs, I've been measuring 22 millimeter, and in the clasp down here with that prominently engraved Longines wording, you have 18. So it tapers from 22 to 18 millimeter, and the same applies, of course, also to the strap, to the brown strap that comes normally with the black watch. But I suppose since there's also a NATO available, you can choose bracelet or strap. There's a price difference of €100 in between the strap and the bracelet. You choose, but in theory, as I got the watch from Longines, the black version comes with that brown leather strap. And here, just to repeat, 22, 18. That's the same measurement for both strap and bracelet. This is the folding clasp of the bracelet. It is more or less the same folding clasp as you would have on the strap. A little bit a smaller clasp, but it is, yeah, more or less the same. You open and you close. There is no, I clearly want to say, there's no easy, quick micro length adjustment available. So you have to adjust the length of this bracelet with the pins that are here. And later on, the fine adjustment is done with these 5 holes in the clasp. And this is something that can be done easily. I will show you. The only thing you need is my legendary Bergeon plastic pointer or something comparable, not to scratch the watch. And if you want to do any adjustments, you press on the pin and then you just move the pin in the clasp. That's what I'm doing actually. And you will see that I've been moving the pin from this first hole to the second hole. Turn it around 180 degrees. You do the same procedure here. You press on the pin and then you just move the pin, and you see I've been moving it from here to here, and this is easy. It will not slide out. The only thing is what you do, you press with your fingers, you press that it stays in there, and then you press on it, you move it, and then you can do easily a micro length adjustment. But you need a tool. A little tool, something like this. You can also use a pen probably or whatsoever, but you need something. This is how the bracelet looks like. It is mostly brushed. There are some polished elements in the middle, but the rest is matte. This continues also on the case to be matte. So there is almost no shiny elements. You have here parts that are polished, but the rest is matte. Here is the crown with the Longines winged hourglass logo. And what is also very nice to see, and this is the proof that this is not a modular chronograph, but an integrated chronograph. You clearly see that the push pieces are completely aligned with the crown. And in cases where you see a modular chronograph, mostly the crown is a little bit underneath the push pieces of the chronograph because they sit on a module on the base movement. And normally you see these push pieces to be a little bit higher and the crown a little bit lower. But here we do have one perfect line, and this is the proof. And you clearly see that. Talking about the bezel, a blue or black ceramic inlay triangle. We will see with the loom shot how this looks like. Watch, please. Nice loom shot, I have to say. Nice, nice, nice. Well done, Longines. Essential for you is to know that the Arabic numerals are applied Arabic numerals. So it's not printed, the dial, it's applied Arabic numerals. And also good to know for you is that the sapphire crystal on the front side has an anti-reflective treatment on both sides, inner side and outside. And the sapphire crystal on the back side, this sapphire crystal does only feature an anti-reflective treatment on the inner side. And the bezel can be turned in both directions. Also, the watch is, in theory, waterproof up to 100 meters, is not a diver. You can use the bezel by turning it in both directions. You see here, you also get the haptical feedback in my fingers, and the sound sounds good, not cheap, I can tell you. Quality-wise, you get really something, I have to say. You get incredible quality and a stunning, also have to say, beautiful watch with the two aligned counters. Here's the running second, 60 seconds, the running second, and the 30-minute counter. Let us also start that chronograph. How can the bracelet be dismantled without tooling? That's easy. I recommend you to open up the folding clasp, and then there is a push piece here. This is the push piece. Press on it and you release. It's not more than this. And to insert, you do the same. You see? You can really do it with gloves. And when I can show it live in the camera with gloves, believe me, it's easy. Everybody can do it. Same applies here. You have the push piece. You press on it. I just have to be sure to press on it, and sometimes you don't get the feedback due to the gloves, but here you are. When you put the watch head together with the strap or bracelet, you just have to always figure out how do you want to read the logo on the clasp. Of course, not upside down, so it has to come here in the 6 o'clock position. Here is the mechanism that applies to the strap. I recommend you to open up the folding clasp, integrate here, and then you come to the other side, and then you have to find the hole on the opposite side. It's a little bit of a tick, and you see, that's all. And you have another watch. That's the blue watch with the brown, nice looking, and also perfectly, I would say, matching strap. And yeah, there are other options. What about the weight of the two chronographs? The version with the leather strap, I weighed 127 grams, and the version with the bracelet, as you see it here, with, of course, all the links in it. And there were too many links for my 17 centimeter or 6.7 inches wrist. So 1 or 2 links could have been taken out, but enough configuration as I got the watch. The weight was 179 grams, 179. Depending on the way you want to wear your Longines Spirit Flyback Chronograph, you can either buy it, as I said before, with a leather strap with a NATO and maybe other options will come along, or the nice bracelet. The price difference in between strap and bracelet is 100 euros, and the watch with the leather strap costs 4,800 euros, including 20% VAT. So if you want to have a net price, please deduct 16.666% and you will get the net price of the watch. And the version, I said it before, 100 euros more, so 4,900 would be the combination, either blue or black with that bracelet. Nicely executed bracelet, I have to say. Fits good on the wrist, hugs the wrist quite perfectly. So if you want to wear the watch with that bracelet, I can recommend to do so, because it does look good. Yes, it is a perfect fit with the watch. Also, it's very comfortable on the wrist. What do you think about that officially COSC certified chronograph? -4 + 6 seconds is the official numbers COSC is certifying. You know that COSC is only certifying the movement, not the entire watch, but Longines, of course, does, and I can tell you, regulate these movements better than this. So, believe it or not, COSC is just testing it, so the watch can feature the word chronometer on the dial. Otherwise, it would not be mentioned here if it would not be a chronometer. But it is the case, so -4 + 6 is the official. But Longines is doing much better than this, believe me. But this is in between you and me. Yeah? What do you think? Is this a cool chronograph? What do you say? Is flyback function useful? I would say yes, very, very useful, because you can time things you couldn't do if you wouldn't have a flyback chronograph. Your comments are more than welcome. Which one would you choose? Which combination would you choose? Color versus bracelet, strap, etc. What would you choose? I'm keen to read your comments. I am also ready to answer your questions if you had some. Stay tuned on WatchAdvisor on YouTube, where once again the watches were the stars and not any personal show. You didn't see me, that's good. I stay in the background because on our channel the watches are the stars. Bye bye.